Marilyn, and welcome to the Food Combining Information for the 3030 Wellness Program. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk about the origins of food combining. Just give you some information. It's going to be a short video, so I'm going to put some links at the bottom of this the video so you can actually do some more information. But I just wanted to introduce you to the principles of it, and the reason why I want to introduce specific different food information. So it's education on what type of diets in inverted commas that are available and what people have done to get themselves back to health. Um, Again, we're not treating this as something you should do because I'm not a qualified nutritionist. Um, but if you feel that you need to get any information, I've got links for nutritionists that you can see. And nothing should replace medical information. So I just want to give you a background into that. That's a disclaimer. So food combining is known as trophology. I probably saying it wrong. It's a term for a nutrition approach that advocates specific conditions such as foods essential to good health and weight loss. So what food combining does, it actually tells you not to mix your proteins with your carbohydrates in the same meal. One of the best known ones is the Hay diet, and that's how I got introduced to food combining from a client of mine. She actually told me about the Hay diet when I complained about really bad digestion and gluten intolerance. Also, there's the Beverly Hills diet and the other stuff, and that they do it on the other level, the extreme level, where there's loads of proteins, then you eat loads of carbs. This is different. This is such a different approach because it actually deals with the body holistically rather than just about not eating carbs and not eating proteins together. There's other factors to consider. So I'm just going to read some from my notes, so bear with me. Again, William Hay was born in the 1920s. And what he actually did, he developed the Hay diet, but there was also a similar one by Gary A. Martin, and also there was Edgar Casey, and some other people that devised a similar diet. So this has been around for years. Maybe indigenous people kind of follow this anyway. So what the what was the premise behind Dr. Hay when he started this diet was that he was actually unwell, and he actually had high blood pressure. He had some kind of kidney condition, Bright's disease, and that his heart was dilated as well. So he had all these different things, high blood pressure. So he started this diet by eliminating 2 meals and eating only vegetables for the third. He stopped drinking coffee but continued to smoke cigarettes. Um, and then once he started this diet, his craving finished for cigarettes and then for coffee. Sorry, after 2 weeks, and then I think 7 months later he gave up cigarettes. And it's really interesting because it's a similar thing that happened to me when I gave up meat and I gave up smoking. My body just stopped doing these things. This is why I love this program, because it deals with body consciousness. Anyway, so he was considered a normal weight. So he weighed less weight. Obviously, he was really overweight. He weighed less than he did before. So he started to study different things about diet and exercise. He spent 4 years researching. And then he looked at Pavlov's dog situation, where this physiologist did, Pavlov's dog fare, ringing a bell, and the dog started to salivate. But when he studied more into this, he looked and he realised it took about 2 hours to digest starches and 4 hours to digest proteins. However, it could take 13 hours to digest a mixture of starches and proteins. So can you imagine if you're trying to, with Christmas meal, that's why we sleep forever, because it's really affecting the body, because a lot of your energy is from digestion. So if you're spending all your time digesting your food, you're losing a lot of energy. He also said the body uses a lot of alkaline digestive for carbohydrates, and digestion of proteins included acid. Now that's really interesting. So if proteins and carbohydrates are consumed at the same time, the alkaline process was interrupted by the acid process, combining incompatible foods called acidosis, the accumulation of acid in the body fluid. Now, when you look at different conditions in the body, different medical conditions, you realize that a lot of acid alkaline balance is affected by this. And it also looked at these combinations affecting stuff like diabetes and Bright's disease. The wrong combination drained vitality and caused people to gain weight. And it would drain vitality because you're trying to digest your food. And there's so many things you shouldn't be doing while you're digesting foods as well. So people may do exercise, they may run, they may do other stuff. It's not good. That's why they always say eat a light lunch before exercise. Then you can have your proteins, because you can use your proteins to while you sleep and other stuff. So what he maintained is eat proteins at one meal and carbohydrates at another. He classified fruits with acids, hay-labelled vegetables in a neutral category that could be consumed with either groups. He advocated the daily administration of an enema to cleanse the colon. I talk about enema. When I did my cleanse, I talked about this on our meetup. I've got an enema pack, which I'm not going to show to you yet. I'm going to show it to you when we talk about cleansing the body. And enema is really, really good. But then there's some people that complain that your food, you shouldn't need an enema, because if you're eating the right food, i.e. raw food or vegetarian, that you should be able to eliminate a lot of toxic waste anyway. Some people have had a colonic, but I actually think, I've never had a colonic, which I wouldn't mind having one, but I actually think trying to do an enema yourself is something of an effort, but it's really good to do, because when you do your cleanse, you actually 1,000 times better. I actually really healthy, but I've got makeup on because I've done a makeup video. So but actually I have had a really good sleep as well, which is so important. And you find when you're detoxing or you're changing your diet, you should be sleeping better. Okay, so back to the hay diet. Fruits and vegetables are alkaline, which produce very little acid. They're digested and should be the main part of every meal. But there's some fruit that he would consider acidic, and it is true. When I was trying to shrink my fibroids and my cysts, I went on an alkaline diet, which I talk about in the video, fibroids. Proteins, only a small amount of proteins should be eaten at any meal and should not be combined with carbohydrates. Protein should include meat, game, fish, eggs and cheese. Milk is also considered protein, which is true. You should not have it with a meal. Alcohol such as red wine and cider is also included. You should leave 4 hours between a protein meal and one based on carbohydrates. Remember, this is about the hay diet. There is a book called The Hay Diet, Made Easy, which I'll send a link. And also, remember, you don't have to follow this all the time. You may just want to try it out for a week or for a couple of days. Carbohydrates, within this food group, you should eat more moderate amounts of grains, whole wheat bread, pasta. However, processed carbs should be avoided, like your white flour, white pasta, cakes, candy. Not very good. I'm going to include a chart, a PDF chart, which has information of what foods you can eat and you don't. Again, a lot of, when you look on the internet doing research, you find a lot of places that will say that hay diet does not work. There's no scientific proof. I did it for a while, and my stomach went down. And so every time I need to make sure, well, if I feel sluggish, then I will go back to the food combining, where I would just eat my fish with my vegetables, and then I'll eat my carbs with my vegetables.